Oh, there you are, YouTube. Doodle 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 doo. Subscribe if you're interested. Hey, today it was the first snowfall of the season, and it was just beautiful. We went outside. We hung out in the snow for a while. Now it didn't stick or anything. It was just kind of a gentle snow, a very wet snow, but it was on the ground for a while, and it was great to see. The kids were making snowballs, throwing them at me. They were eating snow. It was really fun. It was great. And it got me sort of in the Christmas spirit. And I was like, hey, Christmas is on the mind. How about I make a video about the Christmas movies that we have in our collection? Maybe some of these could be recommendations for you to watch during the Christmas Advent. And that's something we do. We have an Advent calendar that we put together, and rather than like little pieces of chocolate as we count the days to Christmas, instead we have little slips of paper that have a movie, a Christmas movie written on them, and then we watch one of those movies. And a lot of these movies that we're going to look at today have been in the Advent calendar, and some may be in this December's Advent calendar. But I thought maybe we would show those, and yeah, that you can see them as recommendations. Now, these aren't in any order or anything. I just wanted to pull them up, and we keep them in this Christmas tub right here. As you can see, there's one movie right there, but we keep them in here. I got a couple other loose ones that hang out in this collection because maybe they don't have as much Christmas in them. But let's take a look at them. So, starting off again, there's no order or anything. Rocky IV, the big fight with Ivan Drago, takes place on Christmas, doesn't it? Yeah, so that one could be a Christmas movie. It's not one that you necessarily think of right away, but hey, it's in there. So maybe that's how we'll start. Some of these like lesser ones where you're not necessarily watching them to get into the Christmas spirit. And one of those being Eyes Wide Shut. Where's Eyes Wide Shut on here? Do we not even have an image of it? Oh, right there. Eyes Wide Shut, right there, with Cruise and Kidman. Has a somewhat of a Christmassy element to it when it comes to the time of year that it takes place. So that's another good one too. Get you right into the Christmas spirit with a little bit of Eyes Wide Shut. Next, now this one I think does get a little bit more into the Christmassiness, just in terms of the environment. Because it just shines through, and that is Batman Returns, which I have right there. So yeah, I think it's great. It was almost like Mr. Freeze was present, even though he's not there. Maybe not the Arnold Mr. Freeze, but just like a different Mr. Freeze that you may prefer. The animated Mr. Freeze. Or maybe Eli Wallach or something from the original 1960s Batman show. But yeah, I mean, this one's great. I just love that snowy, Christmassy atmosphere that exists in that movie. So we got Batman Returns in there. Definitely got to include that one. Okay, next we have Edward Scissorhands right here. Edward Scissorhands is great. I mean, just look at that. We can see the snow right there. The guy's trimming trees, all of that. So I feel like the Christmas vibe isn't all the way there, but when you think of like the ice carving and the snow, like it really does fit. I mean, I don't know. It's more there than maybe I'm suggesting, but another good one. So this is one that we actually used to keep in our Christmas section, or our Christmas collection, but we recently moved it to back here because we really only do watch it around Christmas, and that is Die Hard. Now I know the debate is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? I say it is, but I know Bruce Willis himself says it's not one. I don't know. It's all subjective. I feel like the fight is sort of I don't know, gone off the rails and played its course. You can just think whatever you want to think about it. But yeah, Die Hard, I think that's a good one. I like it, and like I said, only time we ever really watch it is on Christmas. Okay, next we have, now this one we actually watch for Thanksgiving. This is a tradition movie for us, but only on Thanksgiving, and that is You've Got Mail. So this actually takes place sort of early fall all the way to spring, so obviously Christmas is there, and there's a beautiful scene of Meg Ryan decorating her tree, but we watch it for Thanksgiving. There's a really great scene with Meg Ryan and her friends hanging out on Thanksgiving. So that's why we watch it, but if you want to watch it for Christmas, feel free, because it hits a number of the holidays, right? All right, so after that, here's, this one's kind of like Die Hard. We've got the Lethal Weapon, and like I'm trying to think, how Christmassy is this? We got Gary Busey. We got the Christmas tree farm, and then the fight with the like around all the lawn ornaments and stuff like that. So, we got Lethal Weapon as well. So this one's interesting, um, because I remember watching this movie in the theater. So I've had this book read to me when I was a little kid, but I never read it myself. And I didn't even recall this, but I remember when Lord of the Rings came out, right? Fantasy was just like amazing. It was what everybody wanted to watch, right? So Hollywood's making all these fantasy films and they were like, "Hey, let's start doing the Chronicles of Narnia." So I'm watching the Chronicles of Narnia in the theater, and then I'm having a good time, but I'm thinking, this is a little, childish. It's kind of like diet Lord of the Rings. And then like Santa Claus shows up. Santa Claus is in this movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like in graduate school, and I was like, what the heck am I doing here? This movie's for children. But I don't know. I've grown to like it now, but at that time I was like, what is this nonsense? But yeah, Santa Claus is in this, so Christmas movie. Saint Nick himself, Father Christmas, in this movie. Also, I met Tilda Swinton, who you can see right there, and she was kind enough to sign it for me. I don't know how that looks like the words Tilda and Swinton, but that's her signature right there. So we got that one. Next, we have, now this one I pulled from my Best Picture collection, which is in another tub over there, which I need to find a nice display spot for. But The Apartment, we got like an office Christmas party in this one where things get, go pretty south, pretty bad. But you can call it a Christmas movie. Gets pretty dramatic, but also has some I don't know, like romantic comedy, dark romantic. I don't know what you want to call it, drama. But it's there if you're looking for Christmas movies that aren't necessarily screaming Christmas. All right, let's get to the tub. So all those were sort of some loose ones. There are probably more in the collection that did not come to mind. But, well, here's one right here. This is another one that we watch, not on Thanksgiving. Actually, my wife used to watch it on Thanksgiving with her family, and I guess I did too when I first married into the family. But that has shifted. Now we watch it the day after Thanksgiving when we put up our Christmas tree. This is the movie. So we watch A Miracle on 34th Street, which obviously starts during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Actually, in this movie, it's the Kohl's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And moves through Christmas and everything, but Santa is center stage, front and center, so very much feels like a Christmas movie. I gotta figure out where to put these. All right, I guess this will be fine. Let's put them here. Okay. Next, this one you already saw, The Nightmare Before Christmas. This one's kind of nice because you can watch it from Halloween all the way to Christmas. I believe it's more of a Christmas movie because that's the focus, is Jack trying to create a Christmas. But the opening does start on Halloween, and then obviously it takes place within Halloween Town primarily. But I feel like the goal is to create a Christmas throughout the movie. That's the main focus of the movie. So yeah, a great Christmas movie, and I'm sure everybody watches this, but it's just nice because you can watch it from pretty much that Halloween through Christmas window and never feel guilty about it. Not that I ever felt guilty about it. I watched that as a kid year-round. Okay, so this is not a movie here, but it's something we do have in this box here, and that is what is that one called? A Charlie Brown Christmas is what it's called, right there, with the tree and everything. But then there's also another one called It's Christmas Again, Charlie Brown. We don't watch that one as much. We just like the classics here. We pretty much just watch these two, Great Pumpkin and A Charlie Brown Christmas. And we don't watch these every year, but they are, nice to watch when we do. All right. Here, let me pull out some other ones that aren't necessarily movies, and that's the claymation films for, those Christmas classics, as well as Frosty the Snowman. So what is that? We got Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and then, where is it? Santa Claus is Coming to Town, right here. Oh, and it has some other ones as well down there at the bottom. It includes The Little Drummer Boy, Cricket on the Hearth. I don't know if I've ever watched that. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. I should watch that. I used to watch Mr. Magoo. My dad was a big fan of him. And then Frosty Returns. So, yeah, great stuff for Christmas right there. All right, let's keep this going. Let's keep this going. So this might be controversial as well. I think most people do consider it a Christmas movie, but we all understand that there's, the battle, and it's like, it's not really a Christmas movie. And it's like, okay. But Gremlins, it's in this box, right? So it's just like Die Hard for us, where we really only watch it around Christmas if we're watching it. So Gremlins, great one. I mean, we're talking about a gift, right? It's a gift. It's a Christmas gift gone wrong. So there you go. Christmas movie. Christmas movie. Let's go a little dark. A little darker than Gremlins anyway. Krampus, right? So this one... I like this movie. It feels uneven tonally. Some of it feels very silly, I think, like with the gingerbread man. And then we have, Krampus just looking really freaky, and I love all of that. And then the end is just very, like, melancholy. Is melancholy the right word? Sad, sort of. Depressing at the end. Like, one of my friends, she still can't shake this movie. Showed it to her, and she, like, thinks about it. She has a tough time with this movie, and I'm like, really? Because I think it's kind of funny. Like the gingerbread men anyway just really shake up the tone for me. But yeah, this is a good one. All right, what do we got here? Okay, so this one, While You Were Sleeping, just sort of starts out Christmassy. I don't know, it's like Christmassy. It's like Chicago winter, all of that, but like the Christmas aspect of it is just sort of like the very beginning. Is that right? I feel like I'm saying it a little bit wrong. Maybe it goes through the middle, but anyway, it's there. Think of Cold Chicago. It's happening right here in this movie with Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. But yeah, this is one I'm pretty sure we watch every year. I think we'll be watching it this year as well. Right there. America's Sweetheart, the beautiful Sandra Bullock. All right. This was one that I watched and I actually was not into, but I was blown away by the cast. So this has Penelope Cruz in it, Susan Sarandon, Paul Walker, Alan Arkin, not mentioned, but Robin Williams is also in it, as is Chaz Palminteri. Am I saying his last name right? Let me see if I can see it, because he directed it, if I remember correct. Yeah, Chaz Palminteri. And did I meet him? I mean, I guess I don't know. It was barely a meet. It was just kind of like oh yeah, I'll be back in a minute, and then he didn't come back. But I was like, hey, can you sign this, or I don't know, can I get your autograph? He's like, oh, I got to go do something real quick, and then he never came back. But anyway, he directed this. He's great. A Bronx Tale. If you haven't seen that, check that out. Plus, he's in, I don't know, he's a legend. You've seen him and stuff. I love him in Night at the Roxbury. But yeah, this movie. I don't know. I really wasn't that into it. I was really excited for it because of Chaz being the director of it, and he's also in it. And then the cast is just amazing. And then I think we also heard that Robin Williams was in it before we watched it, and then we saw him in it. But yeah, it didn't really speak to me as much as I was hoping. It was good for like a one-time watch and a movie to have in the collection. But it's cool to see all these people in this movie. So for that reason, especially Paul Walker. I mean, Paul Walker and Robin Williams, both of them, rest in peace, right? So we're checking out for them. Hey, what's this doing in here? This is Thanksgiving. Well, does it go beyond? Okay. You know what I almost did? Like with your phone, like that. I just tried to make this bigger, because I'm seeing a Christmas sweater here, but it's been a while. Home for the holidays, I normally think of Thanksgiving, but maybe it goes to Christmas as well. It's been a long time since I have seen this, but you got a really cool cast in it right there, and I'm seeing a Christmas sweater right there. So, Home for the Holidays, but clearly I need to rewatch that one because I don't remember the Christmas aspect. I just remember the Thanksgivingness to it. All right, what do we got here? Aha! Bad Santa. Now this says Badder Santa. That doesn't mean that this is the sequel, which I have not seen yet. Is that any good? Should I watch Bad Santa 2? This is just like the unrated version, but I love this movie. This is one of the honestly, probably one of the funniest movies of all time. I am always laughing very hard when I watch it. We used to have this in our advent calendar every single year, but we've taken it out lately just to make room for other films that we haven't seen, just to add some variety. But this movie is great. It is so good. It is laugh out loud funny and crude and just wonderful. So Bad Santa, I love it. Plus the Coens were a part of the writing team, if I remember right. So that makes sense. Here we go. This is a part 3 of a movie. A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas. Now this is wonderful. I think I've told this story before, but my wife has only seen this Harold and Kumar movie. I've seen all 3, and I love the first one and the third one, and I believe they're going to make another one. At least I've seen a rumor of that online recently. But the original film, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, is obviously centered around a trip towards White Castle, going to White Castle. So my wife knows about that, and she knows that White Castle is sort of like the beginning of this friendship or this franchise. And then there's a moment here where we get a view of White Castle, and it's just kind of glorious and wonderful and all of that. And my wife shed a tear during that moment because she understood how important White Castle was to Harold and Kumar, and I just thought that was wonderful. But yeah, this is good. We used to watch this one every year. We've taken it out just to include other things lately, but who knows, maybe we'll put it back in this year. All right, here we go. I think there is so this one is actually, I have this one in here for Holiday Inn, but I think there might be a scene in Going My Way as well. This is a dual pack that I have. Going My Way is a Best Picture winner for the Oscars, and I feel like there is Christmas in it, but otherwise Holiday Inn definitely has Christmas in it. This is probably sacrilege, but I am not that into Holiday Inn. Just seemed like it drags and drags, and I saw it in the theater, and I was like, whew. Wait, did I see that in the theater, or White Christmas? No, I'm thinking of White Christmas, right? Yeah, okay, so actually, I don't know if I've seen Holiday Inn. I'm thinking of White Christmas. That one dragged and dragged and dragged for me. But Holiday Inn, I actually need to check that out myself, if I recall. If I've seen it, I don't remember. But it's another Christmas movie. All right, here we go. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. This one's a classic. You know, this is one that I feel like we put in every year. If it's not in our calendar, it's definitely a guaranteed watch. Tim Allen is just hilarious in this. I feel like we underappreciate him when we think of like 90s icons. He was sort of ubiquitous, but like under the radar. He was everywhere and under the radar at the same time. And I think that's just because like Home Improvement, we all watched it, but it wasn't like it was this award-winning show, critics raving about show. It was just like a consistently good, reliable show, right? And then when that happens, I feel like you sort of are under the radar because you're not getting all the accolades. But it's such a great show, and this is such a good movie, and I love the Christmas episodes for Home Improvement. Those are great too, and I'm trying to remember. I know there are references to Home Improvement in this movie, but I'm trying to remember if there was any references to the Santa Claus in Home Improvement Christmas episodes. Regardless, I love this movie so much. I've been watching the show. I haven't watched them all, but I've watched a few episodes of the show that's on Disney Plus, which I think has a new season. And from what I saw so far of that, I wasn't able to complete it last Christmas season, but it's really good too. All right. It's a Wonderful Life. This one's weird because it's like such a Christmas movie, but also not that much about Christmas. Like it just sort of like happens at the end. We also get the snow scene with the sledding and the water, you know, all of that. And losing the hearing. But a lot of the middle stuff just isn't that much about Christmas, and it's just hailed as this Christmas classic, which I get because of the end and everything, but the meat of the movie, not very Christmassy, but a classic worthy of watching every December. Here we go, A Christmas Story. This is a classic. This came out when I was born, probably like months around when I was born, right? Isn't this an 83 film, I think? But yeah, this is great. And actually, there's a sequel to it that was, I think, just came out last year. And that was really good too. I liked it. They really, I feel like, came close to capturing the magic of this original one. This movie actually also like makes me feel uncomfortable a little bit. I think because of the way it was filmed and just some of that Christmas decor from that era, like the elves at the mall, like all of that was like kind of freaky as a little kid. But yeah, this is a classic here. I'm sure everybody's seen it. They play it like all day, 24 hours on some channel. They used to anyway. Hey, I remember renting this one when I was a kid in the theater. Prancer. I love reindeer. Deer are my favorite animal. I always say deer are my favorite animal, but sometimes I just think it's reindeer. Not just deer, but reindeer. I think they're my favorite animal. I don't know. I love all deer. Anything with antlers, I'm a fan of. But yeah, this one, loved it as a kid. I'd watch it all the time as a kid, and then we put it in our advent calendar. My wife and I, maybe the first or second year when we were married, and we watched it, and it was just kind of like depressing and sad. And I was like, how did I watch this and love it as a kid? I think it was just because I was seeing a reindeer. But when you're watching the story, it's like, ugh. This doesn't really get you in the Christmas spirit very much, and plus that ending, my goodness, what happened? What happened to Prancer? You better believe in Christmas, or we're talking bad news, right? Anyway, Prancer, we got a Sam Elliott sporting a mustache too, so he's one of the main inspirations for my life when it comes to having a mustache. So, gotta hand this movie to, gotta hand it to him. I don't know what I'm trying to say, other than this movie has a cool mustached man in it. All right, what do we got next? Oh, this one I'd watch on movie channels when I was younger, and I just picked it up recently, maybe last year or 2 years ago, and we just added it to the Advent calendar. We've only watched it the one time, my wife and I, but I've seen it, multiple times when I was younger, and that is Trapped in Paradise. And we have some amazing comedic talent here with Dana Carvey. He just experienced some tragedy. Thinking of him, he's a wonderful talent. I hope he's getting through okay. And then John Lovitz, he is. I think he's one of the funniest people ever. He's like underrated also. He is so hilarious with like skit comedy and stuff like that. I think he does stand-up too. And Norm Macdonald would always say his stand-up sucked. But I don't know. I've never seen his stand-up, but I do love him in SNL and almost probably every movie I've seen him in. Except maybe, I don't know, I should rewatch City Slickers 2 because I don't know if I like him in City Slickers 2. But this movie, liked it much more when I was a kid. Upon rewatch, I don't think it was as good, which I think is weird. Why do I like these movies more when I'm a kid than now? And like, how did I have the patience for it when I was a kid? That's interesting to me. Must have had much more patience as a child. But yeah, Nicolas Cage. It's worth the watch. These people, they're like bank robbers, and then they get snowed in to this town, and basically it's the nicest town ever, and then they have to become good people. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. It's Groundhog Day, but with 3 people instead of just Bill Murray. And Bill Murray's not a bank robber or anything, but it's kind of like that. Well, although it's not at all like that, because there's no like repeating the days. I'm just saying snowed in, the snowed in quality. Oh yes, this is so good. A Christmas Carol. This is the Zemeckis one with the motion capture technology that he was using. Jim Carrey plays the 3 ghosts as well as Ebenezer Scrooge. Maybe even more people. Gary Oldman plays Cratchit. This is so good. And I believe this is considered one of the most accurate tellings of the story, along with another movie I don't even know if we have because I think it's at my in-laws. You know what, I'm just going to say it. It's like this and Muppet Christmas Carol are like considered the most accurate retellings of the story. But yeah, this is good. It took me a while because it's kind of like freaky and that uncanny valleyness is all very strange, but I still like it. Took me a while though. Oh man, another one. When I was a kid, I used to watch this and loved it. All I Want for Christmas, was starring Thora Birch right there, young Thora Birch, and then what? His name isn't Ethan Randall. That's weird. They're trying to tell me his name is Ethan Randall, and now I've forgotten his name. Ethan Embry. So he must have went through a name change, but Ethan Randall, or Ethan Embry is how I remember him. I just thought he was the coolest guy in the world. This movie, and I still think he's the coolest guy. I love Ethan Embry. I just think he's awesome. I love seeing him on screen. I love him in Can't Hardly Wait, in Vegas Vacation. He's on Grace and Frankie. And in this, and also Empire Records. I don't know, I think he's one of my acting heroes or something. But, yeah, that's him right there. Very young kid. This was one that I loved as a child. I was always watching it whenever I'd catch it on TV. But we put it in our advent calendar one year, and I was just like, this movie's too long. And it felt like it was going nowhere. It's only 92 minutes, but man, does it feel long. But I loved it as a kid. And it's like all I want for Christmas is for my divorced parents to get back together, sort of thing. All right. Oh, here's one that my like I had seen this, but my wife like really loves it, and so we watch it every year, and it's really grown on me. Like I appreciate it so much more the more times I've watched it, and that's The Family Man with Nicolas Cage and Téa Leoni. My wife is the biggest David Duchovny fan out there, and a part of that is loving Téa Leoni as well. And she's in this film, and I don't know, we love it. We think they are great. And this one kind of has a vibe of It's a Wonderful Life to it. You live this one life, and then you're shown another life that could have been possible, and then you sort of change it. It's also, exactly, it's kind of like, it's like the ghost of Christmas Present shows you what a possible outcome could have been for your life. So, it's kind of weaving together those Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life together. But yeah, great Christmas movie right here. But I'm trying to think, it's not always Christmas. So you're not always feeling Christmas the entire time, but it's very good. Oh, speaking of not feeling Christmas the entire time, Serendipity. This is one that we watch every year, I believe. And it's only Christmas at the beginning, and it's only Christmas at the end. Or is it New Year? No, just the beginning and the end. Christmas shopping is what's going on, and then the meat of it, the middle, doesn't take place. But it's like less about it being about Christmas, because it's really not. We just have the opening and the beginning. It's bookended with Christmases, right? But everything in between just still feels very tied to that first moment in the movie, and then obviously the last moment of the movie. So it feels all throughout, and that is really good. So yeah, another good one here. Plus Kate Beckinsale, right? Oh, have mercy. Have mercy. Love her, love her, love her. Okay. Okay, classic. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the one from the 60s. This is the one my parents grew up with, and then obviously it was still being shown on TV, so I grew up with it as well. We actually, if I can remember, I'll put this in the comments below, but or in the description below, but we took our kids, the very first movie they ever saw in the theater was How the Grinch Stole Christmas, if we're calling this a movie. The first time in a movie theater was to watch this movie. We went to like a special event. It was great. The Grinch was there. We got to ride in a horse carriage. It was just like such a fun experience. The kids were very brave. They were kind of scared of the Grinch, and they don't want to do it again. Our town still offers it, but they don't want to go to it anymore. But yeah, because of that experience, taking them to the movie theater, I have loved this movie so much more. But I was never like a huge fan of this. I think maybe the animation and the sound and everything just kind of bugged me a little bit, but I don't know. I've grown to love it so much more now. Next we have The Preacher's Wife. And this is like a remake of The Bishop's Wife, which we don't have, but I believe that's probably about Christmas as well. But this is great because you have some Whitney Houston singing just beautifully. And what more could you ask for is Whitney Houston's voice on Christmas. Just really good. And then you got, Denzel there being that angel. Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up. Good movie. All right, let's keep going. Oh, well, we already did the 90s Miracle on 34th Street, but let's show you the original one here, Miracle on 34th Street, the original. My father-in-law, this is his favorite version. I actually prefer, I like this version, but I prefer the way in which they prove Santa to be real or declare him real more in the updated or the remake than in this one. This one's cool too, but I like the sort of faith-based one of the remake instead of the fact one here, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Those are weird words to use, but I just I don't know. It just feels a little bit more glorious, I think, to me. But my father-in-law, he prefers this version. But this is also the one that he grew up with, so I think that has something to do with it. But I really like this one too. But I prefer the remake. Okay, so here's one that I've only seen once. We bought it just because we were looking for new things to put into the calendar, and Arthur Christmas was it, but this was cute. Arthur is, I think, like Santa's nephew or youngest son, maybe youngest son, I think, and he has to take over and sort of save Christmas. I remember there was like a bike involved or something, I don't know, but it was nice movie. I think the kids will like it once they're a little bit older. Oh, look, and the movie includes Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Justin Bieber. Hello, look at that. Wow. It's fun to just watch the way careers just shift over time. But yeah, there's that movie. I remember liking it, but obviously I was too old for it, but it was good. So this is about as far as I can get with Will Ferrell's comedy, yelling, screaming comedy, and that is Elf. I really like this movie. I like it a lot, but Will Ferrell, for me, a lot of the times, even though he has movies that I love, he has movies that I absolutely love, but he also just screams all the time, and he's yelling all the time, and I can't really stand it too much. But here, I can, and I love it, and I think this is great, and I love this movie. We rewatch it a lot. Also, we watched Spirited with him and Ryan Reynolds last year. That was also a really good one. So if you haven't seen that, check that one out. And I think that one's on Apple TV. It's a streaming movie, but it was good. And I feel like my wife didn't like it though. She didn't like it. But I feel like if it were in theaters, had gone to theaters, I think it would have had the chance to become a big classic. But because it's on streaming, that sort of like kills it becoming like water cooler talk, I think. It kills becoming in the public consciousness all at once, because people are going to wait to see it. It's not just going to be playing on normal TV and people just catching it. You have to choose to watch it at home. And it's unfortunate. Spirited, I think, was pretty good. At least that's how I feel about it now. I can't remember how I felt about it at the time, but my wife didn't like it. But yeah, Elf, this is good, and it is one of our more recent classics. There aren't very many. It's like this and Bad Santa and another one I'm going to show. Oh, actually 2 I'm going to show. Yeah. Actually, let's get to it now. The Holiday. This is, at least for us, it feels like a Christmas classic. I don't know if it is for everybody, if it's like a ubiquitous kind, or, like everybody agrees, but this is a great one. I love this one. But yeah, it may not feel super Christmassy all the way through, except for because we're in LA with the 2 of them, but here we're in England, so we have the snow and everything sort of holding down the Christmassy vibe. But yeah, there's like a Christmas party at the beginning, but then the rest kind of, fizzles out of the Christmasness, I guess. But it does move into the new year, so it's not that. I don't know, it's, Christmas and a little bit after Christmas, Christmas fettuccine. I don't know, Christmas is there. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's here, it's in this movie, and this is a very good movie. I love it. Love Jack Black and Kate Winslet together, and I want a sequel to this. I want to see them today. I don't know. Maybe they're going. Maybe the four of them are going on a holiday together somewhere. Maybe they're going on vacation to Australia or something. I don't know, but I want it. I want it. All right, what do we got here? Oh, okay. Another one that feels very recent, or one of the last um, Christmas classics, Love Actually. I adore this movie. I believe it's coming to theaters again right now or soon. I've been seeing posters for it in the movie theater anyway. I love watching all of these different stories come together or sort of cross paths. I don't know if they necessarily all come together, but they all cross paths in various ways. And I just love the ensemble cast. So many great stories. I tear up probably every time I watch it. And I just think there are a lot of great stories in this. All right, we have Little Women, and if I'm showing Little Women, it's going to be the one from the 90s. We don't watch the newer one. We did see the newer one, but this one, it's not all about Christmas or anything, but it does have the Christmas scene with the food and the Christmas orange. That's what I always think of, the Christmas orange. But yeah, this is one of my wife's favorite movies of all time, and I really like it too. And if you're going to watch one of these versions, I think the 90s is the best one. Has Christian Bale in it. Plus, just all those icons right there in this movie, and you can see the snow right there. So I was gonna say it feels cozy, just like the time period and everything. But there are some like really like kind of sad moments in it, and so it's not easy watching all the way through. All right. Next, this I feel like I remember as just one of the very first movies I remember watching as a human, and that is Santa Claus the Movie, starring The Big Lebowski. I right there, and John Lithgow, right there, and Dudley Moore. But I like when I think back, what's the very first movie I ever remember seeing? In the theater, I know it's Masters of the Universe, but just like ever on TV, it's tough for me to say. I don't fully know, but this one is easily one of my first memories, my earliest memories of movies existing. Was this movie here? And there's a kid who lives on the streets, and I think he drinks like a Pepsi. Is it a Pepsi or a Coke? I just remember the sound of that and the food that he's eating. That he gets this plate. This girl gives him a plate of food, and I don't know. That scene just really stuck out to me. The shoving. John Lithgow just shoves a bunch of candy canes in his mouth towards the end of the movie, and that always stood out to me as a kid because he's kind of the bad guy, so he's a little scary. The reindeer. I think maybe this is when I fell in love with reindeer and their velvety antlers. The sort of glitter hay that they would eat, the gold glitter hay they would eat, the making of the toys. It was all like wooden toys. The word Vendigum. I don't know. Just this movie, I feel like means a lot to me, and unfortunately, my wife doesn't like it, so I don't get to watch it very much because we share a TV. But yeah, I adore this movie so much. Santa's outfit was almost brown. It was almost brown. And then we went red. The story that's in this movie anyway. The story of Santa Claus is pretty sad in this movie, like how he comes to be. He was just a toy maker who, well, I'll let you watch it, but it's in the opening, and it's just kind of like, oh, man, it's kind of dark. But I love this movie so much. All right, what do we got next? How should I end this off? I probably should have ended it off with that one, because, I don't know, movie means a lot to me. But next we have The Family Stone, another classic. This one, again, feels like one of those more recent movies that, one of the few classics that we have. And I just don't feel like that's happening anymore, right? It was just like the 2000s were the last time we got these Christmas classics that had legs, that stick around. And this one's good. It's a family coming home for Christmas. Everybody's coming together, and people are bringing over their girlfriends, and just boyfriends, and it's just like a lot of, I don't know, a lot of different things going on in this family, dramatic things, funny things. I always think Luke Wilson is hilarious in it. He's, if I could if I could have anybody's personality in a movie, it might be his from this film. He's just like not a care in the world, so easygoing, and has like zero worries or anxieties, and I just love that about his character. Okay. Here, I'm back. Jingle All the Way. I saw this in the theater. I think we saw it, if I remember correctly. My dad, company he worked for, would always have a Christmas party that was at a movie theater. And when it was in a movie theater, you got to pick one movie to watch. You know, they had like, I don't know, 7 or so movies to watch, and we would always pick the one, as a family, we'd always pick the one that was Christmas themed. Or like when the Harry Potter movies came out, it was those, but Christmas themed otherwise. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how we watched this one. And I just remember, you know, it being great. I still think it's great. It's funny. And, you know, Arnold's good in it. But I gotta say, well, Belushi's funny in it. Phil Hartman, but also Sinbad. Sinbad is, he's like the reason I feel like this movie works. Also, what was that movie he was in with Phil Hartman? House Guest? He's so good in that too. But I almost watched this more for Sinbad than anybody else because he is so good in it. But it's great. It's, you know, Arnold's out there trying to get his son a Turbo Man doll, and then, you know, what happens at the end during the parade and everything. But it's a good one. Nice, fun family film for Arnold. All right. Here, this is a good one. This one, I guess, another more recent classic for my house. Obviously, everybody's not going to watch this because I'm pretty sure it's a R. Yeah, so this one isn't going to show up in every home. But we got The Night Before. This is absolutely hilarious. Michael Shannon is in it, and he's funny. But this trio right here is great. I love their story. Basically, this is a Christmas Carol sort of story, but instead of 3 ghosts visiting one person, it's almost like a ghost visiting 3 people sort of thing. And you really don't even catch that. It's so blended. It's blended so well into the movie that you don't necessarily even catch that as you're watching it. But I don't know. I think it's hilarious. I love it. My wife and I adore that movie. I think that one's probably an every year film. I don't think we ever kick that one out. Next, a movie that means very, very, very much to me. And actually, I upgraded it recently, but I'm going to show you the DVD. Just purchased it on 4K, but that is Scrooged. Very deep personal connection to this movie. Won't necessarily get into that in this video. I have a upcoming video down the road that I'll address all of that later, but really funny. Some of the funniest like seconds in movie some of the funniest seconds ever in a movie happen here. Just like these, just Bill Murray's doing these very subtle, small things. If you just like watch his face or whatever, if you're, it's just stuff that you don't catch on the first viewing, but you do like 50 viewings later, and you're like, that's really funny. And that's something, you know, you don't catch the first time around, but it is very funny. So Scrooged, definitely recommend this. It's pretty dark, but it's probably just rated PG-13. Yeah, rated PG-13. But it's one I definitely recommend. It is so good, so funny. It does have a darker edge to it, and all of that is great. I love Scrooged. Okay, one of my favorite Christmas carols. It's a Christmas Carol. Updated version, 80s capitalist version. Okay, and then I think this is where we're going to end because these are probably the ones that I've seen the most. And if you haven't noticed, the hat that I'm wearing was a little clue, and that is Home Alone 1 and 2. Those films probably easily the most watched. I would watch these year round as a kid. The question is, which one's the best? The first one, the second one, the first one, the second one. You know, the first one is the first one, and it's always going to be the first one. But the second one also has New York at Christmas, and what's more beautiful than New York at Christmas, right? The second one's a little bit more, actually they're both slapstick, but I feel like the second one is a little bit more because of the people working at the hotel. Something about them just adds a little extra silliness to the movie, where the first one obviously is just Harry and Marv that sort of add that silliness and the way they get beat up and everything. But Home Alone 1 and 2, Home Alone and Home Alone Lost in New York, these are wonderful. And actually, we're not seeing this hat in here at all. They don't have it. But trust me, this hat that I'm wearing, Kevin wears in this movie. Remember when the wet bandits almost hit him and he's like, ah, like that? Or is it probably, is it on this side or this side? I can't remember. For you anyway. But for me, it's like this. Like if the camera's over here, it's like, and then the van is over here. But anyway, this is the hat he's wearing. My wife made this. She is a knitter, and she made this hat for me, and it's just like the one that Kevin wears, and I love it. I think she did a wonderful job. It has an antlered animal on it, a reindeer on it, or is that a moose? Reindeer or moose? And like I said, I love animals with antlers so much. And here it is on my Kevin McAllister hat from Home Alone. But yeah, these two movies right here, I watched them all the time, year-round when I was a kid. But with my wife, her traditions were more Christmas movies around Christmas, not year-round. So that's not really how I watch these anymore. And it does make it kind of unique. It's no longer a, well, it makes it more special, I guess you could say. It is hard not to be able to watch something that you love so much year-round. I mean, I really wasn't watching them year-round as much anymore because I've grown up. But it is kind of, makes it a little extra special to save them for the Christmas season. But yeah, growing up, I mean, I was watching it in the middle of June. No big deal. Didn't think anything of it until I got married, and my wife's like, "What? Who watches Christmas movies in the middle of July?" I did. So Home Alone. Anyway, yeah, that's my movie collection, my Christmas movie collection. What do you have in yours that I didn't include in mine that I don't have? Which ones do I need to buy? But yeah, I think all of these, most of these would make good recommendations if you want to give them a watch. If you have any questions about any, hit up the comment section below and I can give you some additional answers, except for Holiday Inn, because I can't remember if I've seen that one or not. Or Home for the Holidays, because I thought that was purely a Thanksgiving movie, but based on that sweater, I'm wrong. But a lot of the other ones, I could answer some questions on them. Are they appropriate for kids? Yes? No? I was watching them as a kid, but maybe you may not. I don't know. Let me know what you think of these movies. Do you like them? Which ones do you love? Which ones do you hate? Which ones would you never watch? Which ones are you excited to watch? Which ones are you going to watch? I want to know all of that. Hit up that comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Peer Hangout.